of drug prevention classes, but the cool component about this is that the program doesn't completely focus on drug use. One of our favorite parts of the program is that we're able to go ahead and provide the students with coping skills and ways that they could actually manage not only getting by through school, but empowering them to make wiser choices. So with that component, we not only work with the students, but we also work with parents. So we provide parent empowerment workshops. And what we like about the program is that we're able to fully integrate it with students, parents, and school staff and faculty. So we work with them to try to see how we could go ahead and enhance school policies and work in better ways to not only promote drug-free schools, but at the same time help the faculty and staff in ways that they could not only reach to the parents, but reach to the students. So it's a great, super complete program that we're using. We also like the fact that through the county, since it's funded by the county, we're able to provide free services. So all of the things that we provide is absolutely free to the school at no cost. And we are an outpatient drug facility. So in a sense, we do not work with students at the moment, but we're also able to work with adults and provide those services. And we also, since we're partly funded by the county, we're able to partner with other agencies who do provide the outpatient services and rehab services to students should they need the intervention part as well. We mostly work prevention, but we also work with other partners that work in intervention to go ahead and help the students that actually need the help and support, in regards to drugs and alcohol. And the last component that we do is we work with the community. We're constantly working with the Van Nuys Neighborhood Council. They've been a huge support to us and all the efforts that we're doing within the city, but we also get to work with retailers around the areas in helping them be responsible as far as beverage services goes and how they sell alcohol, how they promote it. And so we get to go ahead and work with the merchants in just limiting and really diminishing that access of alcohol to underage youth. So it's part of what we do. And if you guys have any questions in regards to the work that we do, or if there's a school that wants to be connected with us or whatever it may be, you could feel free. We're going to be here till 8, but any questions you may have, we'll be right here to answer them for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I'm going to have Joanne come up. We were supposed to have Dr. Susan Tanberg present, but she couldn't make it. No, they don't need it.
They're not going to use it
Yeah.
for all, I guess.
But are you going? You are, right?
You know what? I don't have to. You want to see PowerPoint? No. No. Yes or no? You're awesome. Yes or no? Yes. Yes, I know. I do. Okay.
Yes.
This Susie Tanberg couldn't make it.
Transitioning job
Yeah.
opportunities for individuals with special needs and autism.
Yeah.
Who is this?
Okay, good evening.
This is
Thank you
Joanne
so
Lara,
much.
and she is the founder and director of the Autism Movement Therapy. So she replaced Dr. Susan Tanberg, who was going to speak but could not make it.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Council, for having me. Yes. You'll see the brochure over here. It says Autism Works Now. It's a program that we umbrella under Autism Movement Therapy, a 501c3 nonprofit. But a little bit about me, 10 years in LA Unified School District. I have a moderate to severe education specialist credential. I taught moderate to severe special day class students with autism for 10 years in LA Unified. I now teach at National University, and I'm a special educator at the university, National University. What we're doing now, and my big emphasis now, is on getting jobs for special needs kids. And really what we're looking at is transitioning into the workplace. And our idea is, I can make it go forward. Howard, can you show me where I push? Just this one?
Should be right here.
Do we aim it there, or do we aim it there? At the machine? Yeah, but I want to make it go forward. So let me just read a little bit about what our perspective is, that autism can be viewed, not only as a disability, but also as a gift. And through these gifts, individuals are able to make pathways into their communities, form friendships, and become vital contributors to their society. Our goal is to help families with children and youth on the autism spectrum and the public in general to envision a better quality of life for individuals with autism by creating a bridge between employers and potential jobs. These amazing talents and gifts of those with autism and Asperger's can be shared with others. Unfortunately, far too many young adults with ASD are graduating from high school and not transitioning into the workplace. The facts themselves are a call to action. 90% of our individuals with autism are unemployed after graduating from a public school setting nationwide. 1 of every 3 young adults with autism has no job experience, no college, and no technical school beyond 7 years of graduating from high school. Young adults with autism who find employment earn an average of 30% less than those with other disabilities, including lower IQs, learning disabilities, and trouble speaking and communicating. That's why we must not only continue to form and work with increased job opportunities, but also increased understanding of the skills that individuals with autism bring to the job. In short, we're asking for a seat at the table. So many of our youth face the issue of unemployment. 50,000 individuals with autism graduate from a public school setting nationwide. As they age out and transition to adulthood, it's clear that we are at a crossroads nationwide. We know that the rate of employment for individuals and adults with autism is devastatingly low. How do we start? We begin early at home and in the education setting by helping the child to have a strong vision about his or her place in the world. We start as early as pre-K and kinder, and we need to help the child understand that he has a role to play in his home, his community, and his school. If we are expecting our children to grow up and transition out of the high school setting and into the job market, then we must make sure that they have access to the same vision as their siblings and their neurotypical peers. Okay? Can you move it on for me? Thanks. What we have in a special education, how many people are familiar with a special ed process or an IEP? Yay, wow. I'm speaking to my friends here. Great, so how many of you know about an ITP process? An ITP plan is what we call an individualized transition plan. This plan was mandated over 17 years ago through the feds. It comes through the federal law of IDEA, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. And it requires that any individual with an IEP have an individualized transition plan, and that plan be written by the time the child is 16 years of age. Here in California, our mandate is 14 years of age. So if you have a child on the spectrum or a child with a special needs and an IEP, and your child's 14, and you're not seeing an ITP plan at the IEP, then you need to talk with somebody, because this is where we begin to form the idea about what this individual is going to do when he transitions out of the school setting. So every student's plan is highly individualized, just like an IEP, and it should include planning for further education training, not only education, employment, income, living arrangements, leisure time, and participating in the community. Each student's needs are different, and they require different support. Thank you. Yeah, you can just push it for me, if you would.
How many people are in this now? What's the percentage?
Let's hold the questions until the end, okay?
Okay, good. So the purpose of the ITP is to prepare the student for life after high school. And the document is written by a team of people that outlines the training and support that will be needed for the student to live, work, and participate in the community as an adult. There. We have 4 pathways that our students with special needs can take after high school. Currently, we can attend a higher level secondary education program, enroll in a day program, begin career pathway that leads to meaningful employment in the future, yay, yay, or be at your parents' home. Those are our 4 options. So what are we looking for? We're teaching career-focused skill sets. That's what we feel that we need to go back to. How do we do that? Develop a vocational career and transition center that's an inclusive model for both the middle and the high school setting. And we can make that inclusive by including our individuals at 12 and 13 that we're losing to the gangs. If we can provide a place that these children want to come to, they will come back to school and we won't lose them to the gangs. We're losing them to the gangs because they can't read and write. And we know that as educators by the time that child is a kindergarten child. We know that already. What happens is they develop behavioral issues, behavior problems, and pretty soon by the time they're in middle school setting, teachers are saying, get out of the classroom, I don't want to see you, go to the principal's office. So they're not welcome in a school setting, but they get out on the street and somebody from a gang comes up to them and says, hey, you see that old guy over there? Go kick him from behind and make him fall down and come back and tell me you did it. The kid goes, he does it, he comes back and he goes, hey man, you're rocking, you want to be in a gang? He got his first positive behavior support on the street with a gang member. He's not getting it in the public school setting. So if we can bring back a vocational training model that starts with a middle school and a high school, and we include all of our kids that are not going to go an academic route, we can eliminate overcrowded prisons. Now, I took Guillermo and I took the mayor's aide to Miller Career and Transition Center. How many people know it? Wayne Fogelsong has 22 skill set programs at Miller Career and Transition Center. He is providing skill sets, teaching skill sets to individuals with special needs. He's the model we want to look at. So if anybody's here still from the Board of Education, if you will help me to go back to Beaudry, go back to LA Unified School District and say, please stop getting rid of vocational training centers. We only have 6 left in 2,200 schools. In LA Unified, we have 6 vocational schools.
Not enough.
Let's bring back vocational training. Let's get these kids having a place to go. Let's fulfill the job market where we don't have kids and individuals that want to do it. And let's change the way we're educating individuals with special needs. Thank you.
No.
Yeah, that also include mechanic, working on cars too?
Yes, we have car detailing, we have furniture repair, we have an eBay class where they're actually buying and selling on eBay and have $6,000 or $8,000 in their class coffers in their bank account. We have weaving, we have deaf and hard of hearing class, we have computer classes, we have a $650,000 bakery. These
All
kids are
right.
wearing hats.
Yes.
They're doing, yeah, but well,
What?
when you ask how many kids are transitioning from 18 to 22 into a bakery,
Uh-oh.
maybe 2 kids.
Uh-oh.
What's wrong? There is a disconnect between the community and our education system.
That's right.
We have to let
And what we have to do,
employers
we
know.
want jobs, we want them filled, we've got to get employers back on the bandwagon.
Yes.
We have to have people that are making liaison between our kids and the jobs and the skill sets they can do. We've got to
Well,
stop
that's
with just an academic route.
County.
We're losing our kids to the streets, to the gangs. We're not serving our special needs kids. And we're not creating jobs. And then we want to know why we're sending everything over to China.
Isn't there anybody at county that can help you with that?
Well, I'm just starting to talk about it, because nobody wants to
That's
talk
what-
about
they're the ones that
vocational
do that.
training. They all want to talk about academia. All of
I've-
our kids are not going
I
to
said
go to
vocational.
four-year
God
university.
help me, I knew it.
All of our kids are not academic route. We need to
That's
look
what
at
I
a German
said.
model where they assess at kinder, academic vocational. Academic vocational, by the time
Exactly.
the individual graduates from the school setting, he's doing what he's good at.
Yeah,
He's
absolutely.
doing what he's good at and he wants to do.
Yeah,
Yep.
We
absolutely.
have kids that are going and being forced to go into an education system. They don't read, they don't write, they don't want to
They
be
fail
there.
and they feel
We're losing the majority of them to the gangs and then to the prison system.
Yeah. Which is a total loss and sad.
Exactly.
90% of our prisons, you know what the stats are on that?
Kids don't read.
90% of the prisons are
special ed,
Yep.
Oh,
male African American. That's nationwide.
that's really sad.
We're not serving these individuals, we're not serving these people.
No.
Any other questions? Because I get very passionate about
So do I.
it, as you can see. I have brochures over here. Autism Works Now is a program that I started up. We meet on Thursdays. We have 6 individuals with autism that come from 6
Oh,
to
that's
8, and we're
perfect.
teaching them pre-employment job skills. We have an 8-month curriculum, and each session is 4 weeks. So if you know someone who's in the age range of 16, 17 and older, and needs to know how to work on a computer, have an email. We're graduating people with special needs that don't use a computer and don't have an email. You can't have a job if you don't have an email.
Yep,
What's wrong? What's wrong with the picture?
yep.
They have to
Yep.
fill out an application online.
They have to fill out an application, but not only that, you get a job and then they say, oh, can you come
Yeah.
in at 4 instead of 3? If you didn't see your email because you don't check
Have a
your
computer,
email,
yeah.
You come in at 4, you come in at 3, you just lost your job.
Yep.
Is this your brochure?
That is my brochure.
You have the others? Or is this the-
That is my brochure, yeah.
Thank you so much, Joanne. And it's such a perfect segue into our next speaker, Griselda Gonzalez from the Tierra del Sol Foundation. And I'm very passionate with the developmental disabilities. It's very close to my heart, which is another reason why I brought my program director from Tierra del Sol, an organization in Van Nuys, assisting people in Van Nuys. Here she is.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. My name is Griselda Gonzalez, and I am the program director for Tierra del Sol Nexus program, which is a post-secondary education program for adults with disabilities. So for those that could move on and forward to the academics, then we're there to help. Our program basically supports adults with disabilities in the college setting. Specifically, we have students at Valley College currently attending classes there, and they get support from a coach, a community coach, who the majority of the support is happening outside of the classroom, but we can also go in the class with the student to be able to assess kind of what their necessities will be outside of the classroom, whether it's the social skills where they need a little bit more support with, being able to ask questions before and after class, during class, or if they might be needing the support from the college itself, whether it's the tutoring sessions or attending clubs to be involved with other students also within the college setting. So that's really basically what we do in the Nexus program, aside from other programs in our agency. I also will be here for another few minutes. If you are interested in knowing a little bit more about our program, or if you know of someone that might be interested in attending a program like Nexus, please come and see me. Thank you.
And next will be Tomas O'Grady. Oh, there you are. You're right there and I couldn't see you. Okay. Cool.
Can you talk about something else for 1 second?
All right. So just to add on to a little bit of what Griselda said, because what Joanne was saying, not just educational, we do a little bit of vocational as well. And I am a coach, so I know exactly what she's talking about. I assist mostly academic, but yes, there's times when I'm seeing what my clients want to do, and I realize what are more realistic goals, and I try and gear them towards that, and working on vocational things like customer service or how to politely say no to someone. Just how to say no to a request can be really challenging, so teaching them the polite way to say no, things that are going to help them in the work setting in addition to whatever they can learn in community college. So
About the outreach committee. I would talk about the committee, our committee.
I'm gonna save that to the end.
Well, that's how you say no right there.
Exactly. So
30 seconds away.
it's okay.
Okay.
Something else?
There's food over there, water. Please help yourselves, you guys. Bathrooms are back there if you need
I noticed
it.
there's some students here, I think from Van Nuys High School. Hi.
Welcome. Thank you guys so
welcome.
much
Thank
for
you.
coming. Seriously.
Did you guys want to say anything, or are you here to listen?
Go ahead.
Please.
I like your blazers.
Thank you. What a coincidence that they're all red.
Hello. I am Kobe Lopez from Van Nuys High School. I am the treasurer of Skills USA Club, and we came here to ask you guys for help. We need, the truth is, we need funding, and your question is, what are you funding? And it's a skills organization club that takes place in all of California, and it's a really amazing thing. It opens a lot of doors for all the high school students in participating high schools.
Sweetheart,
Yeah.
I need you to come see me, but right now, I don't have what you need with me, it's in my car. You need an application that you have to fill out, you need a letter from your school principal that accompanies that application, and then we have to have a quickie little meeting, you don't have to be there, or neither does she or he, I don't think it's she. My little budget and finance committee, and then we bring it to our monthly meeting, which is the second Wednesday of the month. Here, and it's usually marathon from 7 to like 11. And we discuss funding issues and we disperse funds at that time. So see me after this meeting if you can stay that long. If you can't,
We're almost done.
see me as soon as you can. I'll give you my card. I think I have one with
I could
me.
say, it's fine.
And then I will get you that application.
All right, thank you very much.
Just out of curiosity, how much money did you need?
Just 20 grand.
The
Oh,
last one asked for 30 grand. Got to tell you, no, the maximum that we can issue without any problem is 999. We can give you up to 2,500, but it's a little more involved and lengthy, but we can do it. It's a little more difficult. But if you stick with the 1,000, I can get you that probably real quick.
Anything's fine.
It's fine. Thank you very much.
Anything.
Thank you for your time.
okay. So now Tomas O'Grady is going to present on the innovative disruption in public schools and about the organization Enrich LA.
I'm gonna be really brief,
Okay.
Do you have one of your cards?
okay?
More.
Tomaso, if you go to the podium, I'll run the slides.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna
That way
move
he
around.
can maybe.
I'm just going to be very brief. My name is Tomas O'Grady.
Oh.
I'm the executive director.
Well, we're all mic'd here, and without mics, you're dead in the water.
Oh.
We have to,
They can't hear me?
we have to record the meeting. It's a federal and state law.
Okay, I can't really stand over here. I'm always on the move. So, it's a federal law to be mic'd? I never heard of such a thing.
All public meetings have to be recorded, and they have to be available to the public.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Tomas O'Grady. I'm the executive director of Enrich LA. We're a school garden nonprofit. We just finished garden number 80 in the city of Los Angeles a few weeks ago. Thank you. So, thank you. The picture that I'm showing you right now, that is Toluca Lake Elementary, which is actually not far from here.
No, you can't.
We have edible gardens at Van Nuys Middle School. The former principal was here. He had to leave. And we have an edible garden at Kester Elementary, which is not far from here. We're also working with Riverside Drive Charter School, building a new edible garden there. Why bother with edible gardens? I'll give you one statistic. 1 in 3 children in the city of Los Angeles will have contracted diabetes by the time they're 13 because of the junk that we adults are force-feeding into their mouths. That's the fact. If that child happens to be a child of color or a child that lives below the 10 freeway, that goes down to 1 in 2. So think about it. We have a garden at Markham Middle School in Watts. There are 13-year-old boys that are all, you can see the way they're walking already because of how sick they are by the kind of food that they've been eating for the last 13 years. I think it's, we talk about public education. I think the way that we're raising our children today and the kind of junk that we're feeding them, we're hurting them for the rest of their lives. So that is why we introduced Enrich LA. It's to put edible gardens into schools, to expose kids to whole foods, expose kids to the kind of food that anyone would buy at a Whole Foods market. Tomatoes, basil, all the wonderful lettuces. We served bruschetta once at King Middle School in Los Feliz. Kids were lining up all the way out the yard trying to get a taste because they felt they'd never tasted such wonderful, spicy, delicious, and of course, whole foods. So let's see, what else you can hit it forward. I didn't know I was going to be doing a slideshow. Yeah, you just go with the arrow. This is Carson Gore Elementary. That's down near USC. So I just want to finish my few minutes by just, on a more positive note, there was a lot of complaints here. I'm a father of 4. Our children all go to public school in Los Feliz and in Silver Lake. I'm just going to say to everybody, I know this is an educational forum. If you want to change your public schools for the better, I know you spoke about it a little in what you're saying, be positive. If you want to change your school, you want to build a garden, you can't go in complaining. You need to go into your principal and say, boy, I want to build a garden. Here's how I'm going to do it. And I think you will find in Los Angeles Unified that you have lots of willing partners who want to get things done, lots of principals who are super ambitious about getting things done and in a more positive way. And the board member was right. LAUSD has gotten a whole lot better even in the last 5 years. The scores have gone up across the district. And I'm just throw out a few more editorial points. I heard somebody blame charters. Well, my children are not in charter schools, but I can tell you this, because of the existence of charter schools, I would say all public schools have really upped their ante. They're delivering a better product to their customers. And I say that for a father who's in regular schools. In Rich LA, we're a perfect example of how the district has become a better and more flexible and more approachable district. If somebody said 5 years ago that us, this hippie organization, we were going to build edible gardens in 80 public schools across this city, you'd say, you're never going to be able to work with the district, it's a bureaucracy, they're difficult. Well, we are proof that in fact the district is capable of being worked with. The district is welcoming of outside partners, and it's a much more flexible, it's a much more positive district, and I could not be more excited about the future. So I was at a forum the other night. There was a guy called Casey Wasserman, who's the guy who's trying to bring the Olympics to the city of Los Angeles, and he talked about public schools, and somebody asked him, well, what could somebody do tomorrow to help change public schools? And he said, you should go to your local public school tomorrow and see what's going on. I would say it differently. For anybody who's out there spouting off about public schools, the first thing they need to do, they need to send their own children to their local public school. And if everybody tomorrow sent their children, everybody who lives in the hills, everybody with a bit of money, our public schools would change for the better faster. And the example is King Middle School in Los Feliz. I went into the school about 6 years ago because my precious daughter, Erin, was about to graduate from Franklin, a over 900 API elementary school in Los Feliz. And I said to the principal, you know, your school was at 640-something API. And I said, I'm not sure about sending my daughter here. Your school sucks. That's what I said to her. She was a little taken aback, and she said, well, why don't you help us make it better? And sure enough, we built an edible garden there. Next, we partnered with the principal and teachers. We founded Friends of King Middle School, a nonprofit, to support the school. And I am pleased to report tonight the King Middle School clocked in last year at 848 API. One of the most improved middle schools in all of the city. And the moral of the story there is, don't blame charters, don't blame the district, stop blaming people, engage at your local school. Just as all of these schools, the only schools that are doing better are schools where the community are in there, rolling up their sleeves, and parents are in there engaging. And that is why all of our children are in boring, old-fashioned, regular old public schools in Los Feliz. Franklin Elementary, King Middle School, and now Marshall High School. So I just want to end it on a note, something that's really positive, and say thank you to you guys for putting this kind of thing on. I'm a former member of the Los Feliz Neighborhood Council, and we also, in that council, we said there is no freaking way that any of our schools in Los Feliz and Silver Lake are not going to be the best in the city. And I'm here to boast and challenge this area that we have great schools in our area because we rolled up our sleeves, we work with teachers and principals, but nobody wants to hear a complainer. And sure, we buy pencils and notepads, You know what? We're glad to do it. We'll buy anything for our kids. Who cares? There are so many great partners in the district, so it's just a positive note. And Madam, I know that she wanted to ask a question, so I'm going
And those
to gladly
council
take it
and
from you.
neighbors and the gardening, why don't you guys get together with Joanne and do a partnership?
Well, but we're already doing that because
Better, you know what
in
I
some
mean?
of our gardens, this is a perfect, we have a special needs class at Marshall High School to use the garden. Our first garden at King Middle School. David Eagler, the special needs teacher, a wonderful human being. You talk about, people who care. Just one of the most caring teachers you'd ever meet. The way he holds their hands and brings them out to the garden. It's just lovely to see. And he said to me that he learned at school gardens, vocational training, woodworking, all this stuff. This is what these special needs kids really want. And we built that garden, they get to use it. And so we're already working with her, she doesn't know it. And we're already working with you. You might not know it. Because our gardens are 100% organic. We don't put any finish on the redwood. Think of what we're doing. All we're doing is growing food, washing it, cutting it up, adding some olive oil, and stuffing it in their mouths. That's all we're doing. Yeah. So, okay, that's it. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Yeah? What's that?
I'd like to have a brochure.
Oh, yeah, well, it's still tiny. We're very small. Yeah.
I like the part.
Yeah.
Are you selling any of the stuff to the public?
We are not because, don't forget, obviously, these schools are huge. 300 is probably the smallest
That
school.
would be a good thing to raise money.
Yeah, well, it's not enough. But what you really want to do is grow it in the garden, wash it and cut it and clean it right there, and have it go directly into kids' mouths. They're tasting it. And some kids are even stealing it. God forbid. How bad is that? Yeah. So.
I want a garden.
Yeah. I'll leave some at the front as
I
well.
gotta get
Thank you.
my
Thank you.
Thank you.
She's 22 years old.
So I know we have some Van Nuys High School students in here, so I hope you guys will enjoy this next presenter because he's going to speak on options for college and paying for college and the process of applying for it. So please welcome Jason Youngblood from National College Planners.
Q.
Do you have a PowerPoint? No, right?
Karina.
He's got
Hey, Q. Karina. Check the lights.
Is this paid for video purposes? Can you see me here? Well, good evening, everyone. I know we're tired. I just want to take a moment to thank the board and the Summit Committee for allowing me the opportunity to come here and speak. I handed out notes to everyone. I presented a lot of different organizations, schools, churches, and I usually do a presentation from 30 minutes to an hour and a half. But what I did tonight is I told Stacy I'd keep it at 10 minutes maximum and take a few questions if possible. If not, no questions. So what I did is I did all my notes and passed them out with all the answers in there for you. So just to make it real easy for you so you don't have to take notes. 2 minutes, a little bit about me. I think it's important to know my background. I'm born and raised here in the San Fernando Valley. I'm actually the first one in my family to go to college. So when I graduated high school, I had zero guidance. So I went to community college, got my AA, transferred to UCSB, and when I got there, they told me the advice I got at the community college is wrong. 21 units that I was instructed to take were no longer transferable. But I just kept moving forward. And I was taking a bunch of classes at UCSB, and it's a great school, and I realized it wasn't the best fit for me. So I ended up transferring out. I didn't think I could afford a private school. Not only did I get into Pepperdine University, but I got a stellar award package. Then when I graduated, I took a look at how much money I owed, and even though I spent the same amount of time at both schools, I actually owed more money at the public school than I did at the private school. And I tell families, don't automatically rule out a private school just because you think it costs more money. The fact is, with budget cuts and impact majors, it might be more affordable. But don't misconstrue what I'm saying. You can get a great education at a public school. What I'm suggesting is figure out which school is the best fit for the student academically, then figure out which school is going to give your family the best financial aid package. I did my graduate work at UCLA. I'm not from Notre Dame. I just wore this shirt today, so I'm sorry if I misled all of you. Real quick, when I present, there's a lot of information out there that bores people, so I'm just going to keep it to the basics. The first acronym that I put on here that everyone needs to know is COA. It's real simple. It stands for Cost of Attendance, and this includes everything. It's basically tuition, room and board, books and fees, travel expense. Again, it's the cost of everything you're going to incur. And it's not just important how much it's going to cost, but I learned the hard way, that's what your family's eligible to receive in financial aid per year. When I was going to community college, I didn't really know how to do all the forms, and I didn't have much guidance, so I just said that I'm living at home, which I was. But if I would have put just living off campus, I would have been eligible for a little more financial aid. And I think the key is awareness, knowing how to fill the forms out accurately and effectively so that your family gets maximum financial aid that you're eligible for. Just basically breaking down the costs. Most state schools in California, like Cal State Northridge, San Diego State, Cal Poly, range anywhere from around $22,000 to $27,000 a year. And again, when we talk about schools, we're going to do it on an annual basis and refer to them as the COA, the cost of attendance. Most UC schools are running anywhere from around $28,000 to around $35,000 a year. And then private schools are, anywhere from $40,000 all the way up to, I've seen, almost $72,000 a year. And there's a bunch of myths out there where families think sometimes they don't make enough money to send their son or daughter to a 4-year school, so they go to community college, or they think they make too much money and they're not going to get financial aid. Every family is eligible for financial aid. The question is how much financial aid and what is it broken down to? Financial aid is a summary of grants, scholarships, work study, and loans. So I think once you understand the components and how to determine whether or not it's a smart decision, then you can determine which school is the best fit for the family financially. I'm going to skip all of the myths there just because that takes a ton of time to go through. I'm going to focus on who determines if you get financial aid. It's real simple. It's the Department of Education. And when I talk with a lot of people, most of them don't even know. So the key thing is understanding which government body gives financial aid, and then the next thing is understanding the rules and how they impact each family individually so you can find out what you're eligible for or what you're not eligible for. The two different types of aid out there that I've learned is real simple. It's the free money that everyone wants. It's the stuff that you don't have to pay back. It's grants, it's scholarships, it's institutional aid. It really is free because the schools or the government, they give it to you and you don't have to pay it back. But then there's also self-help, which most people are going to need a little bit of self-help, and it comes in the form of federal work study, student loans, and then parent loans. And I always caution people on loans, it should be your very last resort, but sometimes people might have to borrow a little bit to pay for college. But I would say that just make sure you make an educated decision and you don't borrow too much, because I see a lot of people borrow and then they don't have the right foundation, meaning education, to get a job, and then all they're doing is struggling to pay back the loans. So make sure you have a game plan in regards to what you're doing and why you're doing it. For example, when I was at Pepperdine, I worked in the financial aid office and I learned a lot of things, mistakes that I had made in the previous year. Then that summer, I got a job off campus bussing tables at Chart House because I needed to pay for my bills. I didn't know that all the money I earned off campus was going to increase the amount I contributed the following year. Plus, I saved it because that's what common sense tells me. You save your money, and then when school comes around, you pay, but you have to report all of that. So when I did, what happened is the school reduced the money I was receiving and expected me to pay more from my earning and my savings. Once I learned that, I only worked on campus through the federal work study program. While you still have to pay taxes on the money, all the money is exempt from the financial aid formula. So these are things that I learned the hard way. One thing I do know is there's a lot of good jobs on campus, and you can really earn not a ton of money, but a decent amount of money that will not negatively impact your financial aid package in the following year. Okay, moving along here, and I hope I'm not moving too quickly. I tried to put together my cliff notes or cheat notes for you. Normally I interact and try and teach, but this is just the quick version for you. I've learned over the years, families want to figure out how to get the most aid. I would contact the college, do your research, and ask 3 really key questions. The first question is, how much financial aid do you meet? If you have a financial aid, let's say you need $10,000, but the school only meets 50% of your need, that means they're only going to give you half of it. You should know that before you apply to that university. It will help you determine, does this school, if I get in, will this school help me meet my financial need? The second question is, if they meet 50 or 100% of your need, how much of the money is free? And then the third question is, how much of the money is self-help? If they say we're going to meet 100% of your need but give you all loans, in my opinion, that's not a good deal. You need to figure out which school's going to try and maximize the grants, scholarships, and then minimize the loans. Okay, so understanding those three questions are key. If you have a pen, I might star that part of it. Again, how much of my need do you meet? How much is free? How much is self-help? And then the major forms, a lot of people don't even know all the forms. They know about the FAFSA, which I put on here. It's the first financial aid form that you have to fill out to get any type of assistance, whether you're going to community college, a 4-year, a graduate program, or even a trade school. The first time you can do it is in January. The deadline's March 2nd. Ironically, the government suggests you have your tax returns done before you do it. I think that you should fill it out with last year's tax returns and your year-end pay stubs and use accurate estimates. Hold your spot in line. Then when you get your tax returns done, you can go back and update your financial aid forms. It's smart to do it like that. That way you hold your spot in line, because financial aid usually works on a first come, first served basis. Not all schools, but a lot of competitive private schools will require another form. It's called the CSS profile, and it's going to be pretty extensive. It's anywhere from 300 to 370 questions. I would just say that if you're filling the forms out yourself, just make sure you triple check your work. If you're having someone help you fill it out, make sure they know what they're doing, and ask them 2 simple questions. If they're going to help you, ask them, what does COA stand for? If they can't define that, they probably don't know how to help you, but ask them this term, and I'd love to see how many hands that know this term. Who knows what EFC stands for? EFC. So look around, like 2 or 3 people. When I present at the schools, it's shocking to me because I think it's something that should be taught in high school. EFC stands for Expected Family Contribution.
Oh, yeah.
This is what the government thinks that a family can pay on an annual basis. The problem is what they think you can pay and what you can pay, it's not even in the same spectrum. When you fill out the FAFSA, it's 120 questions. Most people have probably filled it out. Of those 120 questions, it asks all about your income and your assets. How many questions does it ask about your liabilities?
None.
0.
Yeah.
So in the real world,
Yeah.
if all we had was income and assets, we wouldn't need financial aid.
Right.
So I just tell you that.
Putting the assets to be listed, you wouldn't list the value of your home, you just the value of your home minus the mortgage you want.
I'm going to defer that question till after, just because I know the board members don't want me to take questions here. But to keep moving forward, the CSS profile incorporates the equity on your primary residence. On your primary residence, you do not have to mention it anywhere on the federal FAFSA form.
Correct.
Okay. The next thing is, how do you maximize financial aid and get more? I would say that you either work with somebody who knows what they're doing, or you spend a ton of time figuring it out. But here's what I do know. The studies show that there's over 50 to 62% of people that accidentally make mistakes on the financial aid forms. And if you make mistakes, do you think the school is calling you saying, hey, you made mistakes? No. Last year I had an event in Van Nuys where I had about 7 or 8 families come and sit down and talk with me, and I told them, if you already filled out your forms, just bring them in and I'll audit them for you on the spot. 7 of those families had made mistakes where all they got handed down was loans. I helped them do an appeal, go back, and they ended up qualifying for the Cal grant. A couple of these are Cal State schools like Chico. And they go, well, how come no one called me? And I said, well, unfortunately, there's not the manpower there. And I say this because it comes down to basically making sure that the forms are done correctly, accurately, on time. I really tried to keep it brief because I know everyone here is tired and they want to get going. So I just wanted to tell you how it works. If anyone in here wants help, or somebody who needs help or would like me to present at their organization, their school, I'd be more than happy to do it with a little ample notice. And I can do the presentation a little more extensively and actually take questions. What I did is I just attached my contact info in there, and then on the last page is actually a gift certificate. And if you present that, you'll be able to sit down with me. It's good through the end of the year where I can sit down and analyze your case, answer your questions. If you already are in college and you want to see if you're getting maximum financial aid, I'll be more than happy to do that. I just ask that you actually show up prepared. Yeah. What does that mean? That means that you basically come with your family. You fill out the form, and if you have your tax returns, that would be great. There's absolutely no cost. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions and just give you good guidance. I ended up taking out a $10,000 loan at Pepperdine because no one helped me, and I was eligible for the Cal Grant. The mistakes that I learned, I try and at least educate people on what is available and hopefully prevent them from making the mistakes that I made. Again, I do want to thank you so much. My name is Jason Youngblood, and I am representing National College Planners is a company that I built from the ground up about 14 years ago. So I want to thank the council as well as everyone for taking time to actually listen to me speak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Add one thing.
Yes.
This is something that I teach every Thursday night to 2,000 people that I work with. Anytime you want to do anything in life, you have to ask yourself one question.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows how to get that done? And then, have they actually succeeded at achieving that goal? If the answer to both of those questions is yes, that's the person you want to go talk to.
Thank you. That's a very good, I always validate. I listen, but I always validate things myself because sometimes people say something, but you have to validate it. So I just met him tonight. You're the vice president, right? Thank you very much for your constructive feedback. I duly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
No.
Or make a better time than George does. Because look what time it is.
All right, so I am the last speaker, and my biggest goal tonight was to make this the shortest meeting we've ever had. So we're gonna do that.
It is.
It is. Yeah. So.
Holy caboli.
So again, my name is Stacy Lynn Rains, and I sit on the school representative seat on the board, and I'm also the new education chair of the education committee. Like I said in the beginning, this is basically our first education committee meeting, and we'll be moving forward in January because of the holiday seasons with November and December. I want us to just absorb this summit, make connections from the summit network, and take the holiday season to think about it and be busy with the holidays. And then when we come back in 2016, I will post the information, make it very accessible, but I'll have our first meeting will be in January, and we'll meet in this building, either in this room or on the second or third floor. What I just wanted to do to sum everything up was share some of the education committee goals that I had. So I've been on this board for, yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Could you thank the girls for, they were like the best patients. They were helpful.
Thank you so much. You guys are leaving. Thank you for coming. I hope we see you again. Okay. So, like I said, I joined this board last September, so I've been here for just over a year, and after sitting on the board for a few months, I wanted to do a lot more. And I've always been really passionate about education. I got my BA from CSUN in 2014, and I am about to work with Jason on applying to grad school. So I came to the board several months ago, actually, and said we should have an education committee. And then we got the ball rolling. We put it through LA City attorneys. They approved it. And so here we are now. And so some of the goals that I did actually share with the board at the time and some of the stakeholders in our meeting, just want to run it through you. So school cleanups is a big thing that I really think we can do. And like Tomas said, a lot of people were saying some of the things that I want to touch on, like rolling up our sleeves, not leaving our schools. If our schools suck, we should be doing something about it, not running away from it. So especially with the school cleanups or putting edible gardens, I already know Principal Seth from Hazeltine Elementary told me he was interested in converting his eyesore into a garden on Hazeltine and Sherman Way. Another goal, coffee with the principals. So I had invited all the principals to this event, and none of them showed up, unfortunately. Okay, what is your name? Awesome.
Called Eileen Learning Center.
Thank you.
I'm a proud supporter of the
Okay, hopefully we can see you.
And I thought I was going to speak for 30 seconds.
You can speak right after me, I swear.
I'm from Cloud Inspired Youth Build.
Right.
And we have a John Muir Charter School partner for older youth who dropped out, ages 17 to 25.
Right. I was working with Tracy and Mary Carmen on that, yeah. Awesome. Thank you for coming. I had done most of my outreach with elementary schools, so I'm really glad you're here. So coffee with the principals, though, is something that we do want to throw. Elementary schools first, middle schools, and then high schools. What else? Workshops, lots of workshops. I have a whole list of workshop ideas that I didn't bring with me, but a few of those workshops would be like personal statement workshops. So for all the people applying to college, how to write your personal statement, financial aid workshops, civic engagement workshops. The City of LA and Empower LA through this thing called Civic University, and I participated in that earlier this month. It was a 3-week program, and it educated us about civics, how neighborhood councils work, how neighborhood councils can work with the City of LA, how to make things get done, especially because we can't always wait for sanitation to clean up our streets or to paint over the graffiti, so we should do it ourselves, especially because I think the most important thing is to empower us, and if we're waiting on other people to always do it when we won't do it ourselves, you know, like, how can we really complain if we're not willing to pick up the trash ourselves? So, what else? Incentive programs for parent participation in schools and tutor homework help groups. So I already told the principals that I would donate my time, and I'm working on finding a few more individuals so we can create a tutor group that would basically go into the schools and meet with some of the children that are struggling, and we can come in and help them after school. Just for a couple hours, whatever they need, because we don't want kids to fall behind, especially because who said that? You did, about kindergarten, but I also read another statistic that if third graders aren't at third grade reading level by third grade, they're not gonna graduate from high school. So that's why even just basic, like helping them with homework, you don't even necessarily have to have a college degree to be able to help a younger child in doing their homework. Miniature funding projects. So, you know, the neighborhood councils, we don't have a lot of money. We only get a certain amount of money every year, and we want to use our money as wisely as possible. So while it would be great to just throw $20,000 at you guys, that would then take a huge chunk of our budget. So what my plan is, especially with the education committees to meet regularly, is to see just how far we can take, say, for example, $10,000. So even if we spent $2,000 on hanging the Van Nuys Neighborhood Council banners on every school fence, and gave them a couple $100s to each school, help them with a little bit, and then we get to advertise and do outreach for our council to bring in more parents and students from the schools, and that would only be like a couple thousand. So other little projects, whether it's helping set up a garden or organizing the cleanup, organizing with the city council people, they're no longer here, but I already heard from Sahag from Krikorian's district that they could help coordinate school buses. They could give school buses to us for free. So if we wanted to take our children to like Sepulveda Dam Basin, do an environmental drought educational thing, we could do that. An industry fair is another idea where something like this, we could even have it in this location, and it would be kind of like a little dinner, but every table would have a certain, like, so one table would be all on social justice, maybe criminology. Another table would be business, administration. Another, table would be social human services. All the high school students that are interested in that, getting them at the same table, and then getting other people in those industries, whether they're elected officials or just business owners, and getting them to collaborate and network with them. I also really want to tackle the language barrier in Van Nuys. As we know, we have a huge portion of our population that is Latino, and I want them to be heard. I want them to be represented. So I have some ideas on how we can tackle that. A really basic one, and maybe you guys can let me know what you think, but kind of pairing together English and Spanish speakers. I would love to learn Spanish. I only know a little bit. So I would love if I could work with a Spanish speaker who wants to learn English, and I want to learn Spanish, and we could create little partners to help bring up the English proficiency. Not only that, but so that English speakers can speak Spanish. There's this thing called the Presidential Awards Program, and you can Google it, and it's basically this program that the president will sign a certificate and award to students K through 12 that put in a certain amount of volunteer hours. So what I would like to do, especially for students that really want to accrue volunteer hours, I want them to come to our meetings, come to the education committee meetings, and we can create some kind of official thing to get you those volunteer hours. We can even give you a certificate recognizing any work that you guys do with us. So advocacy workshops. There was this woman that couldn't make it tonight. Her name is Lydia Grant. She sits on like the commission Yeah, she sits on a lot of different boards, and she's a really big advocate. She helped actually create the parent trigger law, which is where you can basically, if a school's doing really, really bad, you can kind of just say, like pull everything out from under them and reorganize it and restructure it. So she's really good at helping parents talk to principals and teachers and in a way where they can get what they want without being, dismissed or not heard. And last thing, I really want to throw a charter versus district debate because there is a lot of different ideas about it, and then also I just think there might be some lack of information on it. So we threw a really good debate with Neri Martinez and Cindy Montañez a few months ago, and that was really great. So if we could do something like that with charters versus district, that would be really cool. And that's just only some of my ideas, but hopefully you guys got a lot out of the summit. It's the first of many, and I hope in a few months from now, hopefully in February, to do another summit like this, but it's going to have a more narrow focus on hopefully post-secondary education. Yes.
Yeah, can I be recognized?
No public comments yet.
Sorry.
Okay, can I ask her a question related to what she said though? Okay, now, you're saying that you didn't mention magnets.
I didn't. Right.
So why not the magnets?
Well, because magnet is part of this.
Yeah. Yeah. The main issue is charter district. So.
But the magnet school is a good part of the school district that is equal to, and in many cases better than, charter schools because they're using the tax dollars appropriately. They have a good curriculum. They have really great teachers. And a lot of the problems that the charter schools have, they do not.
I'm sorry, I can't let that stand. In addition to magnet schools, there are many regular, non-magnet schools.
Oh, no, they're good too. I'm not saying they're not.
It's very important to also say
That's true.
regular old-fashioned.
How high is the graduation rate?
Yes. Yes.
Amazing product.
And I went to Dixie Canyon Elementary, Milliken Middle School, and Grant High School. So I grew up, born and raised in the Valley, and then I went to Valley College, Pierce College, LA City College. I went to all three so I could transfer in 2 years. And then I went to CSUN. So hopefully, the fact that every one of you guys is here is already a step towards engagement and empowerment, and I'm just hoping that I'll see your faces more often, and we can really do more work and roll up our sleeves and get things done in our schools. So thank you all for coming tonight. It's 8:30.
If we can enlist you guys to create a Spanish version of our agendas every single month, this automatically takes in 58% of that.
Yeah. Can you come up and speak, please?
That's the problem. It's that much, that high percentage of non-English speakers.
I was hiring a Spanish-speaking woman to do this out of my own pocket. And unfortunately, she bailed on me. But
I promise I'll do 30 seconds. I understand. We can help you with that. So we're right down the street. My name is Brad Kopanek. I'm a proud member of, first of all, I live in Van Nuys, work in Van Nuys. I love Van Nuys. Grew up here in the Valley. And I went to Chatsworth High School, Patrick Henry. And my sons went to Cleveland. I'm not anti-charter. I happen to be a founding teacher at the very first charter schools in the San Fernando Valley. Those are called PUC schools. My wife is the arts integration specialist for LAUSD. My best friends are LAUSD rock star teachers because rock stars exist in LAUSD everywhere.
I know that.
Because I believe in public education all over the map. So I'm here to say tonight, thank you very much, because when I moved to Champs from PUC schools, I was a founding teacher, my gangbangers are now on Broadway. So I made a movie called Shakespeare High with Kevin Spacey. It's on Showtime. And I have a movie about my work with autistic children, and I want to thank you very much. Thank you for what you do. It's called Autistic Kids with Cameras. Just got back from a world tour. We're actors for autism, but we're all connected. And I'm here just to say that I'm really excited about where we're all at. I thank you for putting this together tonight. And we are learning centers here in 4 new schools here in the Valley. We're called learning centers. We're not anti-Van Nuys High School. I actually love Van Nuys High School. My ex-principal worked at Van Nuys High School. So I just came to say that I want to thank the Van Nuys Neighborhood Council for everything they helped me. When I was at Champs, we did the Van Nuys Neighborhood Film Festival, and I think I created maybe 20 films with, the students did. They did their thing, and it was really cool. And now I just want to go to the next level because it's not us or them. It's just not. It's not anymore. No, it's we. It's both. And it is. And thank you for nutrition because we do have 2 city gardens and we have Chef Karen Forsberg is going to sponsor the Van Nuys Art Walk. We have a culinary program. And then I just love my poets because we're the top poets in the country right now. We run Get Lit. We reached 20,000 kids with performance poetry. We won the Classic Slam. I have a new feature film about it. And I wrote the foreword for a new curriculum. And I just want to take literacy and arts into the 21st century, and I'm tired of fighting. Because my best friends and my heart is in LAUSD, and we just happen to start other types of schools. It's all about choice, and that's all.